cardboard, lots of cardboard. So what we're ended up doing is I'm transitioning. No, I'm not doing the gender thing. I'm transitioning from a regular room to a more studio-like recording area. And this is the remnants of, what is it, like a 194.7 centimeter television box. I don't know what that is in Freedom units, but it's big. We have a big TV. And of course, I kept the box like most people do. Or maybe you don't. Put that in the comment section and let me know. I will keep that box forever and a day. So this is the first time I've pretty much gotten rid of a large screen television box. Hell, I've kept boxes from 10, 15 years ago. Matter of fact, I still have boxes over there, and I still have boxes over here from my K2 Plus that I haven't thrown away either. I don't know what it is with boxes. I keep thinking that one of these days, what I'll end up doing is using that cardboard. Today was that day. So you might be asking, well, what is all this being used for? What we're going to end up doing is we're going to be transitioning this room here, which has been the paint station, and generally have the desk over here, which is kind of a mess. And what I end up doing is usually I've got my camera over here, and you might recognize that, and that's kind of what we look at when I do my videos. I'll do my talking head videos, have stuff in the background, but I've ran across some videos where people are like, yeah, if you've got too much crap in the background, it kind of detracts from me as the subject. And so a little bit of rearranging is in order. And part of the problem is that I had a lot of light coming through these windows. Now it's daytime. Matter of fact, what time is it? It is, come on. It 9:04. So it's 9:04 right now in the morning, and there should be a lot of sun coming through this. There's not, because I cut up a huge cardboard box, and we're going to take a look and I'll show you what I mean. So what I ended up doing is we've got these cool blinds, and basically what I ended up doing is just cutting those out to fill the inset, because there's a little bit of a recessed area. And so I just put those on the windows. And so now, instead of having to buy a blackout curtain, which some people do, and then of course that would require a bunch of rods, that would require a bunch of stands, and this just makes it, I don't need rods and stands, and so I don't need to pay additional money. And yes, I'm sweating from cutting cardboard. I don't need to pay additional money to either build over that window, get the rods with the paper that hangs down like a photography studio, which costs a lot of money. And again, I'm cheap. So yeah, that does the job right there. And then what we're going to end up doing is we're going to kind of remodel this a little bit. So I'm thinking about taking this desk there for the paint station and put it over there in between, which will be a good fit. And then my computer, which is over here, I'm not sure how I'm going to do this, but this will clean up the area back here. And so I can have a cleaner area to jam on. So the desk won't be, that's kind of the view that I usually get. Ferthus, hey, greetings from the treadmill. Welcome. Glad you're doing the treadmill. So anyway, I'm just going over on how I'm trying to drop my phone. So anyway, instead, I'm doing this on my phone. So instead of having all this crap behind me, what I'll end up doing is moving that desk off screen, and then that'll clear up some space, and then we'll kind of move over to where it's kind of about like that. So I kind of have, a little bit of the cabinets there, and then I'll have some space, and maybe I'll put some photos or whatever. And then I'm also planning on getting some lighting. But I might have to, besides moving that desk around over to there, yeah, I'm not sure where I'm gonna move this desk or if I'm gonna move this desk, but I definitely want a scene to where it's kind of like that. And so I've got a little bit of the cabinet there, and then I've got some big space underneath the Joker, and then my head would be right around in this area. And what we could end up doing is getting some cheap lights that I'm probably going to order to, instead of that, because that's casting some real darker shadows, harsh shadows, and we're going to be doing that. I just missed your comment. Hold on. Let me see if I got a... Trying to figure out what's going on here. I got so much crap I'm moving around. I'm not sure where it's all at. I know I've got a... That's what we get. That's what we get when we move stuff around. Now we don't know where anything is. Somewhere. Oh, there it is. So we'll do this. So anyway, we'll move this desk and we'll put the paint station there, and then that will free up a bunch of room over here, and we'll see how that goes. I can vouch for LifeX LED tube lights, really nice, and work with home assistants, but not cheap. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. So anyway, I want to do something that's a little bit more conducive to streaming, and like I said, I mean, that's not too bad back there, but it's really busy, and so what we'll end up doing, and some of the lights I was thinking about getting, because there was a couple of people have recommended them. Now, let me see if I can put it on my wish list. And it is the Godox ES45 key light, which is an LED light with desk stand and 0 to 100 brightness with 280 to 6500K color temperature adjustment. Also has a little remote, soft light panel for streaming, Zoom calls, and all that stuff. But that's a little expensive. But we'll see how that goes. I'll definitely check out the stuff that you mentioned, and we'll see how that goes. But I definitely want to get something a little bit better, a little bit more conducive than the harsh lighting and then just doing the one light. I want to try to make this a little bit more professional, and then have something a little bit nicer. And then nicer means I won't be wearing tank tops as much. So even though I'm not a fashion queen by any stretch of the imagination. So anyway, that's what we got going on. So blacked out the windows, so those are good, as we can see there. And that could even be a background. I mean, that could be a background if we set like the camera here and then have it like that. So maybe, so that way it would kind of be kind of like that. That might work. But then that would mean I would have to have the camera and everything else right in this area. So that would mean moving that desk over here, which I could have the desk kind of like coming out this way instead of, sticking out up against the wall this way. We could actually have the desk coming out this way, and then I could film that way. So maybe, we'll see. So yeah, we're gonna see what happens with that, and kind of move some stuff around. I was thinking about taking that cabinet and putting it up against the window, and so you'd have the two side pieces, the cabinet, but then I'm like, what am I gonna do over here? I'm still gonna have that desk there, which is pretty crowded, pictures, or, it's just really, really, really busy. And so eventually what I wanna do is get that less busy And let's see, shiplap wallpaper would also work to give you a nice background. Yeah, that's true. I thought about the peel and stick stuff, so I don't know, that's a possibility as well. So anyway, that's what we got going on, trying to figure out the layout and everything, and at least I blacked out the windows. So we got that. Thinking about moving the desk over to that area, and that should be interesting. You can probably get lots of those inspirations from other tech YouTubers. Yeah, and basically they just got like a little stuff on the left, or a little stuff on the right, little stuff on the left, maybe some shelves, and then that kind of frames the person. So kind of something like that. I mean, that can work. I guess if I kind of, tilt that over and then have something, can move over at this side and have something there instead of all of this, and then have some accent lighting and some LED RGB lights, kind of like what I have there, but I've got a standing one that's going to be coming in supposedly, and we'll see how that works out. So maybe I could put that like on the bottom, have it shine up or something. I don't know. Just something less busy and more professional looking, and then getting some key lights in here, and we'll see how that goes. If the room behind you is a bit darker with some colored lighting, those shelf cubes would look really nice. Yeah, and I thought about that. I was thinking about kind of like doing a gray for instead of what we got here, which is kind of that off-white, whatever, tannish, sand, whatever color it is. Kind of redoing that wall with some gray, because then the gray could go with anything. And I like the look of that. I've seen a lot of different tech channels and just streamers that will have like the wood stuff, and then you have the gray as the background, then some other stuff over here, and it really has a pretty nice presentation. Maybe a long table in the back or something, accent table or something. I don't know. We'll see. Just try to do with what I have right now and see how that goes. So yeah, that's the fun we're having today. So yeah, blacked out the windows. So we got that done with courtesy of the 80-inch or TV. Basically what we ended up doing. Thank you, Sony, for having a big enough box to cut out, and so I could use that as a blackout option. So yeah. Ferritha says, looking forward to the construction videos. Yeah, it'll be interesting. We'll see how it goes, and definitely get rid of the harsh lighting up top there, and we'll see how it goes. So anyway, I gotta go. The wife's leaving. I gotta say goodbye, and so I'm gonna say goodbye to you because it is what it is. All right, we'll see you on the next one. Bye.